Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Between the Sharks. Today, we got some new stuff to check out. Shipped to my door, 240 American. I bought it, not out of frustration, but kind of out of frustration. My hope for this is that I can set it up in here, that it's not gonna throw all the horrible sparks and stuff like that my traditional abrasive saw does. Maybe it'll be a little quieter. Hopefully it'll cut really clean. And it can be a go-to for cutting metal for bracketries and such. So let's see what it is. I didn't get paid to do this. They didn't send me this. I did my research and I chose this one. And the thing that may throw you off here is this is the R355.
Wait, what?
So Evolution has four 14-inch chop saw style cold saws for sale on their website. One is this wonderful mitering thing that has a swivelly do, 850 American. The next one is similar to this. It doesn't swivel. You turn the material instead for like $4.79 or something like that. Stamped aluminum base or cast aluminum base. It's got a heavier screw tightener downer thing. Then they've got a metal cutting stamped steel base. One of these guys, it's around $3.79. And then this. The multi-material, same stamped steel base, same screw thing, shipped to my door, 240 American. So I compared their $239 one to their $379 one, and there's two differences that I can tell. All right, let's see what we got. Yep. Well, it's assembled. Okay. Happy about that. Well, this is gonna make life a lot easier. I thought I was gonna pull out a bunch of parts and pieces. The only other thing in there is the blade. All right. It's got a couple different fence positions. Comes with this fancy Allen key, which is in a rubber doohickey, so that's good. Fits the fence, great. Fits the blade change I'm gonna do, also great. So the next step up, let's say, is, what's the model number? Have on my phone. This guy's little buddy. This is the R355, whatever. The next one is the S355, whatever. Now I did the comparison and I can't find too many differences. I'll go through the ones that I did find. First of all, pointed threads on the holder down or clamp madoodle. The next saw up has square threads. Now that is an improvement, and it also has a quick release, right? Like same with my regular rigid abrasive saw. Now that's useful and helpful, but was it enough to bump me up $130 for the saw? And I thought, no. I typically hold the material while I cut it, unless I'm cutting it at 45. So I thought, well, we'll give this a whirl, and if I needed to change it, I bet I can pilfer the one off of the rigid abrasive saw that this is hopefully replacing. And I just poked my head under here. It is just two Allen keys holding on the entire mechanism. So if I decided I just had to upgrade, it's an option. I don't think I'm gonna need to. I think this is gonna be a-okay for most of what I do. Next, wow, the blade it comes with. This is their R355 steel, aluminum, wood, and plastic blade. Cuts through all kind of stuff, and it is their Sawzall of blades, meaning if you're cutting through wood with a bunch of nails in it, this is your bad mamma jamma that you want. That said, they're all 14-inch saws. So I can buy the steel blade, only steel blade, put it right on this saw, and it should work just fine. That's the last difference. This thing is 6 feet long. The S355 has a 10-foot power cord. So for those of you paying attention at home, that means that the amperage on the motor, the RPM, everything on the saw, driving the saw and making it a cold saw, is identical. We have a couple differences in the base and a different power cord. Now this thing claims that the cutting capacity for steel is 1/4 inch. However, that's specified with this blade. Considering I believe this motor to be the exact same and spin at the exact same speed, Should I switch this to the steel cutting blade specifically for carbon steel? I think this will just behave like the other saw, except for this clampy bit and the 4 extra feet of power cable. That's a pretty big deal. 240 American dollars shipped to my door. I'm gonna keep saying that, gang. So I've got this thing. I've used it on the channel all the time. Had it for many years. It's never let me down. It just does what those things do. They're loud, they throw sparks, the blades deflect sometimes. It's not the most accurate cut. I gotta make sure the dog's not around. I gotta not use it inside because of the amount of sparks and dust and everything else it throws. And, you know, but that's what they're designed to do. It's okay, it kind of works, but, you know, it's not great. Back there, I got a bandsaw, consumer grade, 300 bucks, 350, something brand new. That's about as cheap as you can get for an actual metal cutting horizontal bandsaw, but you can see the way that it's buried in here, I don't use it because it's worn slap out and it throws blades like crazy. Like I can't keep a blade on it to make a cut. So the last time I threw the blade, I just walked away from it and said, I am done with this thing. However, I was around when this thing was purchased new. It cut really well for a really long time. That was over 10 years ago. Now, the blade would wander a little bit, which can be pretty problematic if you're looking for square cuts, like significantly problematic, if I do say so. But often more accurate than, say, a angle grinder in your hand if you're not good at it. So the other day, I just needed to make some simple brackets to hold this fuel tank on this Model T hot rod project. And, you know, the process to get something set up to make an accurate cut was a huge pain. So I started doing some research. I thought maybe I could turn that rigid abrasive saw into a cold saw. The biggest difference is the RPM of the motors. You need a torquey motor that spins a lot slower than an abrasive saw to make the blade spin appropriately, and then in theory you can jam a steel cold saw blade on it. I thought, well, that would be pretty neat, so I started researching what it would do, what it would take to make the motor spin slower, attenuators, all sorts of ways. People all over YouTube have done that. And I thought, well, this evolution thing, people have been, you know, talking about it for a while. Went on the website, this thing was on sale, 32% off, 240 bucks, and I thought, well, I can't assemble the parts and pieces to make the other thing work, plus do the work. I'm gonna jump on it. So now we gotta get a blade on there and see if this will do what I want it to do. I mean, it seems like they've done a wonderful job making all of the hardware the same size. So right or left? It's got a little blade lock button in an obvious place to keep the motor from spinning while you're trying to loosen and tighten. So, you know, that's good. It's kind of like a normal saw that way, but still good. Now, considering we're focusing on this absolutely beautiful blade, so the farm project did a video on cold saw blades, and I will say that they always do wonderful and in-depth experiments that make a whole lot of sense and draw very smart conclusions. And they seem to think these evolution blades were some of the best out there, which is kind of exciting considering, you know, how inexpensive the saw was. The blades are reasonable, 80, 90 bucks each for what they are, if they are what they are. And I trust that channel, actually. It's a pretty good deal. I guarantee you the bandsaw blade that comes with your Harbor Freight bandsaw will never get reviewed very well. What do we got going on here? Feels like this might have been bent in transit somehow. Pretty easy to solve, but I want to prove that's the problem. Feel pretty confident about this, considering how easily that just moved. Gonna assume that was the problem. I can also see a little ding where it got whanged at some point. Not gonna cry about it, gang. Not gonna cry about it at all. I'm gonna bang on some safety glasses in case I failed somewhere in assembly. I did plug it in. Let's just check the action on the thing. That's all Oh, I see. A little bit of a wanging right there too. So this is designed to do that, which can't tell. It's definitely not going all the way down. Oh, maybe that is all the way down. Okay. Is it all the way down? Okay, sure. Sure. Guess I gotta get this thing in place as well. Works. Smells a little bit like electrical fire. Maybe that's just new motor smell. I don't know. I don't know. Not sure if I used a grinder to cut this or the abrasive saw, but you can see those razory edges that are in here. That's inherent to either one of those abrasive type tools. I guess we're gonna try it. I wanna just see what it does. Now this thing also came with a 3-year warranty, which is, you know, ain't nothing, gang. It looks like it's set to 0 degrees. It says it's square. We'll just try the factory setting. Why not? Here we go. Gang. 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 Let me go get a square. Hang on. Gang. Both directions totally square. Like you can see, this is the piece that I cut previously on a different saw. It is not square. And the short version of this, team, the real short version of this, got a little lock to hold it down. This may be my new favorite shop tool in a very, very long time. Did you see what it just did? Do you see what it just did? Do you see what it just did? I can slide it back on the workbench, pull it out. I can still work here, can cut these small bits. If I need to cut long stock, I can walk it outside and do that. But I can't even describe to you how easily that cut this 1-inch tube. Now, is 1-inch tube a big deal? No, but like, I'll see if I can find a clip of cutting something similar on the abrasive saw. That took seconds, like 1, 2, 3. Where on the abrasive saw, it is easily like 20 for this thin stuff and just gets longer and longer and longer. So I bought this thing directly from Evolution on their website with their sale. No discount, not sponsored, on and on and on and on. It showed up in like 2 days like they advertise. And with that first cut, I mean, we've got a lot of things to do, so we'll use the pants off it, but you know, longevity is TBD. See how long the blade lasts, that's all TBD. But for the most part, that cut was really something. And the fact that it took just a couple seconds, if I come in here late at night after work and I just want to get a couple things done, the idea that I don't have to go set up a saw outside and run the extension cords and do the whole thing. And I mean, honestly, also do fire watch, which is really important. If you're throwing a ton of sparks for a long time or welding a lot, like, you need to hang out in your shop for a half hour to 45 minutes to an hour to make sure that nothing is smoldering behind you. Yeah, the fact that I can use that in here, I don't have to kick the dog out, put her in the house to use it, and it seems accurate, like beyond the abrasive saw that I have, and way better than the cheapest bandsaw that you can get, which is $100 and something more than I paid for this. Pretty thrilled. I think it's neat that cold saws are affordable for guys like you and me, because they used to be in the thousands and above, and there still are versions that are in the thousands and above. But every time I worked at a professional metal fabrication type thing and they had a cold saw, it was like a fluid cooled cold saw thing, but it was many thousands of dollars. For this to be a consumer product under 250 American dollars, that's affordable in my opinion. If you're gonna be doing metal work, $250 for a decent tool is, you know, good luck finding a welder for that that's decent, on and on and on. And before this, a saw, you know, it was gonna be an abrasive saw or a portaband or a really cheap bandsaw. Yeah, thanks for watching Between the Sharks, gang. That is gonna be used quite a bit. Again, not sponsored. Good luck on your projects out there. I'm super excited about this. It is going to make our exhaust build on this, and I feel like a whole lot of things a lot easier than they have been so far. It's kind of putting the excitement back into fabrication, because usually, recently, mostly, there's a lot of setup to fabricate in this shop. Like I can do a little bit of everything in here, but I'm not set up for everything. So if I'm gonna be cutting steel, I set up the saws outside, and then I do a day of that, and then I put it all away, and then, you know, so I don't know, I'm rambling. Anyway, good luck on your projects out there. We will see you next time on Between the Sharks. I'm pretty excited about that.